right, so we are going to start chapter 2, which is solving equations. So the beginning of this chapter is going to look very familiar. It's going to be, the first couple lessons are going to be some review. However, it will lead right into some more difficult concepts and some more difficult equations that you're going to have to solve. So we'll get right to it. So we have talked a lot about solving equations and problems that look like x plus 5 equals 10, okay? So these are considered one-step equations because it only takes one step, subtracting 5, to solve for the problem. All right? Now, when you are solving two-step equations, however, there are some different steps that you need to follow. So the steps are right here. The first step, step 1, is to simplify using the inverse of addition or subtraction. Now, if you remember, the inverse of something is the opposite. So the inverse of, say, addition is subtraction, and the inverse of subtraction is addition. So just like in this equation, we did the inverse of adding 5, and we subtracted 5. Okay? All right, and then the second step is to do the inverse of either the multiplication or the division. Okay, so the inverse of multiplication would be division, the inverse of division would be multiplication. All right, so we're just going to go through a quick example here. So we have 2x minus 12 equals 5. Now our first step, as I said before, is to do the addition or subtraction part first. Okay, so we would have a subtraction problem in here. We have 2x minus 12. So the inverse of subtracting 12 is adding 12. Okay, so if we add 12 to one side, we have to add 12 to the other side. Now these two cancel each other out. My negative 12 plus 12 goes away. And we are left with 2x equals 5 plus 12, which is 17. Now in this case, we are going to divide because the inverse of multiplying is dividing. These two cancel each other out, and 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. All right, so this is considered a two-step equation. You're adding and subtracting, and then you're multiplying or dividing. Okay. Now, sometimes these two steps are not always clear or as easy to do. Oftentimes, you have a problem that looks like this. All right, we have m plus 6 divided by negative 3 equals 4. Now, in this case, we cannot do the inverse of the addition problem because the problem is being divided by this negative 3. So we actually have to do the multiplication and division first. So we're going to multiply by negative 3 first. So since I did it to this side, I'm going to multiply by negative 3 over here. All right, those two will go away, and we're left with m plus 6 equals negative 12. And now, since the equation is, as I like to call it, flat, it's much easier to solve. So in this case, I can check my answer. All right, so I did the first step correctly, and then I would subtract 6, negative 12 minus 6 is negative 18. All right, so here are some more examples of how to do this idea, or this problem. One that I'm definitely going to have you pay attention to is this circle question right here. So we have x over 5 minus 18 equals 2. Okay, I'm just going to put it out there. So The first step is to add, because the inverse of subtracting 18 is to add it. Alright, so then I'm left with x over 5 equals 2 plus 18, which is 20. Alright, now in this case, x is being divided by 5, so we would multiply 5 to get rid of it, multiply 5, and x is going to equal 20 times 5, which is 100. Alright, which we will see right there. Okay, another example of this type of problem is right here. Otherwise, these two, the star and the triangle problems, are both flat equations and they are pretty self-explanatory. Alright, so that is going to conclude today's lesson. If you want some additional practice, please do these additional 3 problems. They will help. And tomorrow we'll be working on solving 1 and 2-step equations. Also, we are going to um, look at some equations with fractions. And what I mean by that is if we have like 1/2 x equals 5. In this case, the relationship between those two, you would multiply by the reciprocal because you would be dividing. Alright, and then x would equal 10. Okay, so basically all that you need to know is recall things that you learned about equations last year in pre-algebra, and you'll be good to go.